Good morning or afternoon. This presentation will be on the topic of accessible design and seating. We've developed a tool, Outdoor Seating Accessibility Tool, or OSAT, and this is to evaluate the accessibility of outdoor public seating. This is presented by McKenna Dawson and Reese Gilmore, fourth-year architecture students at the University of Kansas. So as stated, our topic is outdoor seating. Our focus group is the elderly, and this is because the proportion of the population that is categorized as elderly is at an all-time high in the United States, as shown in this graph provided by the U.S. Census 2010 to 2020, and also projected is by 2050, the number of Americans 65 years and older is expected to rise 47% according to the U.S. Census. This group is underrepresented in design, especially in outdoor spaces. And so our OSAT tool is to evaluate outdoor spaces which often lack accessibility for elderly or those who might have mobility aids or restricted mobility. Some important things that we think about in design, especially with seating or in general for the elderly, our target group, is hearing loss, vision loss, limited mobility or use of aids, sensitivity to temperature, whether that's the outdoor temperature or the temperature of an item or material. Strength and endurance are also decreased with age.
So for reference, we looked at existing tools. We couldn't find any focusing on this exact topic with the elderly in mind, but we did look at United Nations Enable, Accessibility for the Disabled, a design manual for a barrier-free environment. And this included some graphics about the spacing of seating, the area of clear space needed for accessibility, and the dimensions of the seats themselves to make them accessible. Another existing tool that we looked at was by Wheels for Wellbeing, benches and seating in public spaces. Their key principle also focused on accessibility and design, and it required the locations of the seating to be proper and safe and equitable at all times of day and all types of weather. They also focused on having a variety of seating options, as there is no one solution for everyone. Our tool, OSAT. So how to use it, you would first choose a built or unbuilt environment with pedestrian or cycling routes to assess. If you're using a built environment, you will need a tape measure, a protractor, and Google Earth. If you have an unbuilt environment, you will need extremely well-detailed plans. You will then answer the questionnaire, adding up the associated points for each question answered yes. And if you are testing multiple types of seating, you will rate each of them individually and get the average score for each category. Lastly, you will add up your scores for each category to get the total score out of 21. The higher score, the better. Our categories include backrests, seats, armrests, materials, ground surface, clear mobility spaces, location, and conditions. These might include dimensions of the individual items themselves, the usability of the items, the spacing, the amount of space needed, just clear, and the slope of the nearby area. Also shading, lighting, and just cleanliness.
So putting this tool to the test, we wanted to choose a place that we could evaluate in person, and being University of Kansas students, we wanted to choose a place that was for everyone in the community. So we chose downtown Mass Street, specifically the 8th to 9th Street block as highlighted here in blue. A little background on this area: Mass Street is a historic downtown block, roughly half a mile of local food, shops, entertainment venues, and on occasion the streets get turned into a space for events or parades. As stated, this shopping strip is intended for all ages in the community, which is why we wanted to test this tool here. You can see on the zoomed in section, the part of the sidewalk we are evaluating is the east side as circled in red. The total distance measures 630 feet. The materials for this section are mostly concrete, and at spots of our rest or seating we will be evaluating, there are red brick landings. And those are highlighted in the center at a crosswalk and at either end near crosswalks. You can see here with the red circles. The time we chose to evaluate is 6:50 p.m., around the time people might be going out and getting food or leaving work. As you can see here, the two bottom pictures show our areas of seating. We'd like to note that this is not official seating. They are technically concrete planters, but people often use this as a place to rest because there are no benches or accessible chairs, general public only seating that restaurants or businesses put out themselves. So to break down the score, the backrest got a 0 out of 3 because there is no backrest, no support. This is not ideal for our target group. The seat itself got a score out of 1 because while the angle of the seating is correct, there is not enough space on this lip to properly sit comfortably if you need. And the armrests, there are none, so scored 0. The material choice of concrete, while it is great for all climates, it is not the most comfortable. Our spaces of mobility scored out of a 2 because there is enough space for there's enough space for a wheelchair user to pull off to the side and rest out of the space of traffic. The ground surfaces got a score of 2 out of 2 because there is not an intense slope and the material of brick is contrasting from the other sidewalk. Our location, these planters are quite visible along the street. You know that they're located at the either ends of the street and at the center of crosswalks. Fairly easy to find. And then the conditions scored a 2 out of 3 because there is no proper shading with this seating. There is some lighting by other businesses and streetlights, as you can see in the images, which gained it a point, and it is fairly clean and obstructed free, but again, not official outdoor seating.
So what we learned about our tool to start is that its strong suit wasn't in assessing individual seating areas or pathways with a single type of seating thoroughly. For example, Mass Street had the one type of seating that we were able to assess, and it assessed it well. Weaknesses wise, if there are a variety of seats, we did realize that a variety of seats could, with a lower score than having one type of seating, even though a variety of seats should be encouraged. And so for improvements, we would love for this tool to be more focused on universal design, maybe include younger age groups as well. And more importantly, we need it to account for seating variety. If there are multiple types of seating available, with at least one type of fully accessible seating option, then that should be encouraged. That should get a greater score. Here are our sources. Thank you very much.